Welcome back to Reading Workshop. Yesterday we introduced two new characters and we did a little bit of shared reading where we talked about how rereading is a good strategy for our readers so that we learn more and more about the characters and our voices become better storytelling voices. Today we are going to review a strategy that we have used in the past before, and this is a strategy that we have to keep revisiting and practicing so that we get better at our reading. So every reader should be asking themselves, does it look right? Does the word look right? Are you saying all of the letters and sounds that you're seeing in there? Does it sound right? Is the word that you're saying sounding like it belongs in the sentence? 3, does it make sense? Does it make sense with the story that you're reading? Or are you reading words that are not making sense in the story? And so today we are going to practice a triple check. What are we practicing? A triple check. Very good. We are going to continue reading George and Martha. And we're going to practice a strategy that we did yesterday by going back and rereading the last page where we left off. So in the last page, they had gone to the movies to see a what? Yeah, a scary movie, right? And on this last page, we found out that Martha said, hey, actually, scary movies are not so scary. She kind of started to like them. And George pretended like he needed to find his glasses. So let's go back and reread. And if we become stuck on a word, we are going to do a triple check to see if we could figure out the word and make our reading smoother. All right, we are doing a shared read. That means that you are reading with me. So go ahead and get ready. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Martha liked the scary movie. This is fun, she giggled. Martha noticed that George was hiding. Oh, I heard some of you say hitting. Hitting. Let's go ahead and try doing a triple check. Pause. Hitting. Does it look right? I, d, ing. It does look right. Does it sound right? Martha noticed that George was hitting under the seat. Doesn't really look like he's hitting. What is hitting? Anyway, let's move on to our last check. Does it make sense? Doesn't make sense. What could be the word? Hiding. Yes. We need to make sure that we try our vowels in 2 different sounds, the long vowels and the short vowels. I. Hitting under the seat kind of looks right, but it doesn't sound right, and it doesn't make sense. So let's try I. Hiding. Hiding. Does it look right? Yes. Does it sound right? Yes. Does it make sense? Is he hiding? Yes. Readers, that is a triple check. Good job. We could move on. Martha noticed that George was hiding under his seat. I'm looking for my glasses, said George. You don't wear glasses, said Martha. Let's continue. When the movie was over, George was as, what word is this? It. As a sheet. Wit. Does wit look right? Yeah, it does. Wit. Does it sound right? Is George as wit as a sheet? I don't know what that means. Does it make sense? No. Let's try a different vowel. I, the long I. I. And the E is silent. White as a sheet. When the movie was over, George was as white as a sheet. Does that make sense? Is that what we're seeing? Yeah, George looks very white. Usually he's the color like Martha. Why do you think that he's so white? What does it mean when someone is as white as a sheet? Stop and think. I heard some of you say it. When someone says that someone is as white as a sheet, that's because that person was so scared that they lost the color in their face and they look really white because they're scared. Sometimes someone will say, you're as white as a ghost. So remember how George was pretending to look for his glasses? Yeah, he was pretty scared. So when the movie was over, George was as white as a sheet. So interesting. Let's keep going. Hold my hand, George said to Martha. Aw, that's sweet. I don't want you to be blank walking home. What word do we think fits? I don't want you to be blank walking home. George is talking to Martha. He doesn't want her to be scared walking home. Okay, let's look at the first letter. You think it might be scared? It's not an S. Maybe I see an A. I don't want you to be. Let me peel the whole thing. How do we read this tricky word? This is one of those words that your sounds might actually trick you. There's a vowel team in here. There's an A-I vowel team that's making the A sound. I don't want you to be, and the A is making a in the beginning. Afraid. Afraid walking home. He's asking her to hold hands because he doesn't want her to be afraid walking home. Sometimes the words are tricky. Our sounds don't help us, so we have to try different strategies. We need to try our vowel teams. We have to be flexible and use that flex power with our vowels. And then we have to check, does it look right? Does it sound right? Does it make sense? So let's look at the word afraid. Does it look right? Doesn't really look right if we try our sounds normal, right? We have to be very flexible. Does it sound right? I don't want you to be afraid walking home. Yeah, that sounds right. Does it make sense? I don't want you to be afraid walking home. Thank you, said Martha. Well, it kind of makes sense, but I thought that Martha was the one that was scared, not George. So what do you think is happening? Stop and think. I think that, go ahead and say that sentence. I think that George is asking Martha to hold hands and telling her that he doesn't want her to be afraid walking home because he's the one that's scared. Do you think the same? Because he looks as white as a sheet as well. So I think he's the one that's being scared. And I think Martha's just being super sweet. And she's saying, thank you. She's pretending like, yeah, I'm scared, just to make George feel better. She's a good friend. So friends, now we're going to go back and reread because we stopped along the way to make our reading smoother. Now we have to make sure that we put it back all together. So get ready to read with me as I point to the words. Ready? 1, 2, 3. When the movie was over, George was as... Hold my hand, George said to Martha. I don't want you to be afraid walking home, said Martha. Good job. So today we learned that readers must do a triple check to be able to smooth out their reading. Now go ahead, when you read today during your independent reading, make sure that you do a triple check and that you ask yourselves, does this word sound right? Does it look right? And does it make sense? Don't forget to send us pictures of you reading.